Welcome to a new series called The Road to Mastery. In this series, I'll be playing older games and capturing my journey to mastering them, starting with games that I've played from my childhood. To do so, I'll be using Retro Achievements, a website and service added to emulators that add achievements to all your favorite retro games, including the one I'll be playing today.
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing!
This game was developed by Storefront Studios and published by Electronic Arts, released for the PlayStation on August 31st, 1999, and Nintendo 64 on September 14th, 1999. And it's been a childhood favorite of mine. Well, the PS1 version to be specific, and that's the achievement list I tend to tackle. There are 62 achievements worth 546 points in the set, and these will be done in hardcore mode, meaning that I'll be playing the game just like real hardware, with no rewinds or save states. But unlike the real hardware, fast forwarding is allowed to speed up load times or making another attempt at something. All of these sessions have been streamed live on my Twitch, and every session is uploaded to my VOD channel, which links to both are in the description below. Without further ado, let's stop yapping and start racing. I start the first day by going through the normal path of beating the game, and that's by tackling the Hot Wheels Cup. The Hot Wheels Cup is a championship consisting of 6 races with 6 laps each. Before I begin, I should explain that each car has 4 stats to look at when going into the car selection menu. Top speed, stunts, durability, and control. Top speed, durability, and control are simple to understand, as speed shows how fast you can go, control is how well you can take corners, durability is how well your car can handle hazards and collisions, where if high enough, you can actually destroy in another opponent's car. Stunts, though, I'll explain later on, as they're necessary for later achievements. At first I grabbed Purple Passion, because I really like that car, but then I switched to Power Pipes later for these races, because it's the fastest car out of the ones you start off with. We're gonna need that speed for the harder difficulty. Our first track here takes us to Dawn Encounter that takes us to an underground mill before taking us to a UFO crash and ends in a mine shaft. During these races, I'll be collecting these collectibles here, called Mystery Cars, which when collected, it will unlock specific cars from that track. The first one I grab here is past the UFO crash, where I ramp over into a mine shaft, and after dropping down this one area here, I back up past it until I get this collectible that unlocks Lakester. The other one requires you to go slow enough and at an angle to land in this hole through the waterfall, which will unlock Silhouette 2. I also managed to get Max Turbo for filling up my turbo all the way, a speedy introduction for winning the first race, and Vertigo for winning on medium or higher while only doing stunts worth only 1 turbo. The second one in the Hot Wheels Cup is the Command Center, which is, well, a command center. I switched to the Lakester for this track because it's very useful for one of the mystery cars. The easier of the two is in this loading dock, where you go to the right side at the top here, and after breaking this vent and going through the tunnel, Solar CX-4 will be waiting there. The other one is probably the hardest mystery car in the entire game, because you need to go off of this jump and land on the rock right here where the collectible is. The way I did it was that I jumped onto this first rock here, before it, and boosted, tilting my front downward so that the front of my car will be low enough to grab the Thunder Roller. On to the next track, which takes us to Road to Rustwell. This track introduces these dangerous stone wheels that will destroy even the most durable car, and these are important to mention for later. The first car I get here is in the Wild West-like area between the Methanol building and this Dynotech sign, where I break the wall on the left side to get Rockbuster. The other car can also be very difficult. Right at the start, as I go off this ramp, I angle myself to the right, and I eventually land on the side path, and hugging the right wall will bring me to stage fright. In this race, I also grabbed tools for the trade for collecting... Wait, how did I even get this? Because I grabbed the super handling and gyro from the Dawn Encounter, the rubber car and sticky tires from in 4x4 from Command Center, and only the car is steel from here. I didn't even grab the last power-up, which would have been the super brakes. Well, I would have gotten it anyway, I guess, because later on in the lap, I did end up grabbing it. Which did appear here, so all is good anyway. Also, you just have this funny moment at the end of the race. I'm gonna... Aw, damn it. I was trying to activate the... What happened to you? Just randomly rolling across the line. Fourth is Cold Fusion, where it's a chilly course, and for this I picked the Thunder Roller I unlocked earlier, because this car right here needs a car strong enough to break the ice. To do this, I back up at the start, and going through the side path, I break this wall on the left and smash into the ice just so I can get Jet Threat. The other car is much simpler on this right path here, but not going too fast so I don't miss it in this corner here, which unlocks Slide Out. Besides needing to catch up, the rest of the race was pretty uneventful because there was no other achievements I could tackle at the moment. Next is Heli Crash, which is honestly a pretty neat track because of this section right here where you can grab the car as steel, and as you go down, you can destroy any of the cars that get in your way. However, I actually go further up the ramp to break this wall because the Super Van is here. I funnily missed it on my first lap due to boosting too late, but I did get it at my next go around and made my way down. In this race, I also went for another achievement, but I ended up messing it up halfway through, so I decided to wait for the last race to do this. Speaking of which, the last race takes us to Snake River Mine. The first mystery car I grab is in this section where there's a minecart moving on this rail from left to right, which, like the stone wheels in Rustwell, will destroy your car instantly if you run into it. Once the minecart passes, I quickly make my way through the middle out of this minecart's path, giving me Formula 5000. The other mystery car is in the right path after this massive looping section. I end up running too fast into the wall, which knocks me down on my first lap, but on my next lap, I was more successful, and I ended up in this building, and after backing up and breaking this left wall, I find the dragster. Now the achievement I was going for. This achievement requires me to play on the bumper cam, and without the HUD, and as a game you need to do stunts, this can be incredibly disorienting. But after doing this race, I did grab Total Immersion, a whole bunch of cars, 3 tracks, and the Secret Car Cup for winning the Hot Wheels Cup. Now, you're probably wondering, since I beat the Hot Wheels Cup, wouldn't I get an achievement for that? Yeah, about that. I didn't know at the time, but on the Retro Achievements page for this game, this achievement along with the Secret Car Cup didn't unlock because I had this option enabled, the Enable 8MB of RAM. This apparently bugs these achievements, so it didn't unlock unless that's disabled. So I'd have to go back and redo them anyway, but for the sake of this video, this would have given me Fiery Debut. Now it's time to tackle the Secret Car Cup, which consists of 2 tracks, and the first of which is RM Sludge Works. Here I try out Bisector, one of the cars I just unlocked, and after going past the Rigger Masher, I just break this wall, and I can find Power Rocket right there off the bat. No, not the show backwards. Near the end, after jumping through the Rigger Masher again, but from the other angle, I go through the Rigger Motors building, and instead of taking the loop here, I break this wall to the right, and I go slow enough off this ramp so I don't miss the car, funnily enough of the same name, Rigger Motor. The other track is RM Test Track, and this has the last of the mystery cars all the way over in the Snake Slalom section in this breakable wall right near the start, given by the discolored wall, which gives us the Hot Wheels 500, and after finishing this race, just like the situation in the Hot Wheels Cup, this would have unlocked Burning Rubber. And it unlocks the Twin Mills, 2 tracks, and the Twin Mill Cup. The Twin Mills are by far the best cars in the game, with the highest speed and control. They also have a decent stunt and pretty solid durability stat, and that's our competition for the Twin Mill Cup. Does that mean we'll be racing any of the 3 tracks we haven't seen yet? Volcano Blowout, Serpent Sprint, Exhaust Pipes? No, just Sludge Works again. Why? Well, being that this is the PS1 version of the game, these 3 tracks are actually exclusive to this version, and the N64 version just had Sludge Works and Test Track as the unlockables. I just grabbed Twin Mill 2, did the race once again, and took the win, which would have unlocked Become the Hot Wheels Champion, and the win condition to beat the game on Retro Achievements. This is when I found out about it by looking up on the page, and while I redo them to get these achievements, I also turned the difficulty up to Expert for the next achievement. Top Class requires me to win every cup back-to-back while winning every single race in the Hot Wheels Cup, Secret Cup, and Twin Mill Cup, all while on Expert. Don't encounter Command Center and Road to Rustwell, while they kept up with me, I actually beat them no problem. Cold Fusion, even with the horrible driving and terrible mistakes I made, I was still able to catch up and beat them, especially since they drove awfully at the end segment here. Heli Crash, is the first track that actually gave me trouble, and my first attempt ended exactly like this. Okay, died. Yes! Okay, died. Oh! Okay, Sweet 16 is probably gonna win. What the hell? I'm sorry, what was that? I don't know if restart counts. I'm gonna try and see if restart race counts. This track actually took 3 attempts until I eventually just succeeded. The track is tough because of this section which switches which side to crush, but you go down so fast that it's difficult to tell which side is gonna go down. Snake River Mine and RM Sludge Works were pretty easy, however, Test Track really showed how difficult Expert can be. The AI on this track is insanely fast, and to the point to where even driving the Twin Mills proved to make this incredibly hard. Taking me 7 different attempts in half an hour. This was how I felt when I finally beat this race. Don't you freaking dare. Twin Mills on my ass. You're kidding! How? You don't even have the boost, man! Oh my god, man! That's so dumb! Oh my god, please. Hold on, hold on. Oh, yes! Finally! Holy! Oh my god, man! To say that I'm glad this was done would be an understatement. All I had to do now is beat the Twin Mill Cup, and oh, I beat them by 12 seconds, and there's top class popping up. We're not done yet with Expert though, because thanks to this set, they also added an achievement for the PS1 exclusive tracks as a separate cup. Serpent Sprint was fairly easy, as they don't take this snake shortcut around here, but Exhaust Pipes and Volcano Blowout are very tough. Starting with Exhaust Pipes, I figured that I might as well go for this other achievement during this, so I grabbed Typhoon Trickster for completely filling my turbo from empty to full, using one trick which is done with a combination of 3 of one stunt and 3 of another, so flips, spins, or rolls. I also grabbed Nitro Junkie here for using at least 90 turbo boosts in a race. That was mostly difficult because I was going for them, but Volcano Blowout, however, was genuinely hard because just like Test Track, the AI are crazy fast, and the only alternative route is actually slower. Unlike the previous Cup achievements, this one requires you to win all 3 tracks back to back, so if I lose a race, I'll have to start it all over again from the first win. Including the other achievements I went for, this took an entire hour, and once I finally beat it, I obtained the Lost Cup. In order of hardest to easiest, I would start with Volcano Blowout and end with Serpent Sprint, so you don't have to do the hardest track last. Now that the Expert Cups are done, I beat the rest of the challenges that include Sabotage for winning Sludge Works without using a personal turbo boost, and Risk and Reward for winning Road to Rustwell while taking the shortcut at the start of every single lap and without respawning, with the latter one being more difficult, but I almost beat it a second try, and so I ran into a stone wheel before this ramp on the final lap. I ended up getting it eventually after several more lap 1 and 2 fails. The last hard difficulty achievement requires me to use the unlimited turbo cheat, and after racing another 4 laps on Serpent Sprint, I get limiter release. Now that I can finally lower the difficulty, I use a password to unlock Toe Jam, and I go back to Exhaust Pipes for the next challenge. I need to win the track without using the accelerator, meaning my only way to get speed is by boosting. I actually almost failed at this, but I'll let this clip tell the entire story. Are you? Wait. Oh my god, thanks for saving me! Holy f***! I thought I lost! Someone literally gave me a bump! Because you have to be going, you have to be accelerating in order to actually be able to use a boost. Oh my god! The best thing is it literally killed them too. Because of this, I got gas aversion on my second try. The next achievements that I knock out quickly are Traditionalist for winning with the Hot Wheels car without using my turbo or power-ups, Bad Directions for completing a reverse lap which can be done on Serpent Sprint using this shortcut here that you need to get past a ramp jump, and Comeback King, more like Queen, am I right? For starting the last lap in 4th or below and finishing in 1st. Then lastly, to end the day, I headed to practice to destroy the snow person here to grab Mr. Snowman. I start day 2 by finishing the rest of the practice challenge achievements, including Dynamite Dash by starting right here at the end of the starting split path on Dawn Encounter, and driving backwards through the mine shaft to smash these TNT crates up to this last one by the UFO crash within 33 seconds. Who forgot the antifreeze by finishing a lap on Cold Fusion without earning or using a turbocharge, which also means I can't jump high enough to earn a single one, or grab one of these turbo power-ups either. Leadfoot for driving 3 laps on Cold Fusion using Dragster without respawning, while only holding the gas and never braking. Magician for driving 3 laps on exhaust pipes while not using the twin mills, and using power-ups and turbos to slow down a timer. And High Stakes for driving on Sludgeworks for 3 minutes while keeping my speed over 130. The last 2 of which had a timer on the bottom right of the screen that would tell you if you failed or not. And unfortunately, I didn't show it on the stream. Sorry. There's just 2 sets of achievements remain on this set, the first of which are the Hot Seat achievements. These are 3-lap time trials for every single track that require you to use a car that isn't the twin mills. The first one I got was for Snake River Mine, which requires a 302. I tried power pistons at first, but then I switched to rigger motor, and after half an hour, I ended up getting a just barely over 3 minutes. Dawn Encounter was very tough, requiring a 249 to beat. It took me nearly an hour until I looked it up on the page where the creator used the Red Baron. After using it, I ended up just succeeding with a 248. Now, remember when I talked about those stone wheels from Road to Rustwell? This is why. Because this time trial, requiring a 150, was incredibly painful due to the timing that these things start on every single attempt is completely random. A cycle that could work perfectly fine on one attempt, and on the next one, they could quickly get in your way to waste precious time on the next start. After another half hour, I eventually got it, with barely over 148. Cold Fusion was next, and it took me about 10 minutes to barely beat its 228 by 4 attempts, with Command Center right after taking nearly an hour, beating 254 by half a second. The last one for day 2 was Heli Crash, requiring a 242 where once again, these cranes right near the end became a problem. That is until I got a good run by getting by them and shattering the time by nearly 10 whole seconds by using this respawn method right after you pass this checkpoint on the incline where the mystery car was, and it would spawn you back at the start and save you time. The first track I started with on day 3 was Sludgeworks, and I beat the 247 with nearly a 246 after 14 minutes. And Test Track was much easier because I beat it on my first try with 3/10 off of the 253 I needed. Exhaust Pipes and Serpent Sprint both took a few tries, but Exhaust Pipes 308 got crushed by nearly 15 seconds, and Serpent Sprint's 142 got beat by nearly 5. What surprised me about these two were that as of the time I'm editing this, I'm actually number 1 on the Retro Achievements leaderboards? I don't know how, but okay. And lastly is Volcano Blowout, requiring a 225, in which after 10 minutes I beat it by over a second. All that's left now for Mastery is the Stunt Master achievements, where you need to earn a certain number of points without respawning while doing stunts. With these achievements, you also gain a 5,000 point bonus for every lap you complete. Dawn Encounter was done going through the track normally with this big amount of points earned through the Nitro Drop section, and using the Gyro power-up while doing triple front flips, but you could do better with a combo stunt, and right after the start of the 3rd lap, the achievement popped up for reaching 27,000 points. Snake River Mine was tough, where I switched to the go-kart as it has the highest stunt stat, which simply just allows you to control your car in the air faster and allowing you to do these combo stunts far better. It still took half an hour to complete, but I got the 33,300 points with only 15 seconds to spare. Talk about close. With Road to Rustwell, the way I broke 43,000 was by using this big ramp right before the Wild West section and used gyro power-up and going back and forth off it doing combo stunts on it. This was actually quite interesting until I got to one like this. It's not the fault of the achievement dev, but more so the fault of the game mode for allowing me to do this. I don't know, it just feels kind of cheesy. The same can also apply to Cold Fusion and Sludgeworks, where Cold Fusion just needs this ramp section with gyros right after the first loop, and with Sludgeworks, you can just use this part right at the start of the track. At least these three are the only ones where Command Center, Heli Crash, Test Track, Exhaust Pipes, Serpent Sprint, and Volcano Blowout all require you to go through the laps and doing the proper stunts in the proper places. It just felt better. Test Tracks was actually quite interesting because for this, I ended up using Rockbuster to get it, unlike any other track that used Twin Wheel 2 or Go-Kart. Because by the skin of my teeth, I just barely got this one. With all that said though, Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is officially mastered. Well, the PS1 version that is. And that's because not only did I do this version, but I also tackled the Nintendo 64 version of the game. This has a whole different list of achievements, and I've never really played this version because I've only had the PS1 copy of the game, so it was interesting to see some of the differences between the two. Some of these achievements are the same though, so I'll speed them up just to get to the more interesting ones. Throughout the cups, I obtained the Trickster Revenge, Turbo Racing, Now You're Playing with Power, and every mystery car in each track, along with winning with a points minimum and without losing a race on a difficulty higher than normal. Even just moving it a tick higher will suffice. I also grabbed Sticking to the Rules for winning without using turbo. The toughest racer around is the only achievement that I need in order to win a race on Expert, and Bridge Racing for just being in first person the whole race and winning. The thing that's interesting about these achievements is I also had to win a race with every single mystery car unlocked, including Lakester, Hot Wheels 500, Formula 5000, Rigger Motor, Power Rocket, Supervan, Thunder Roller, Solar CX4, Jet Threat, Rockbuster, Stage Fright, Dragster, and Silhouette 2, along with beating every single track with Toe Jam, the final unlockable on the N64 version. Instead of going on time trials for these next achievements, these time achievements actually required me to go on races, and they allowed me to use the twin mills to get each of these time achievements that are shown here. The stunt achievements were also different, as they didn't have a 5,000 point lap bonus and gave an achievement for 2,500, 5,000, and 10,000 on each track, which once again were kind of a bit dull since I could just simply do these tricks here on Command Center and here on the test track as well. They were simple at least, so I didn't have to do it for too long. The last achievements for the set were cheat code achievements while doing a race that I'd never really seen before in this game. First was one that I have done before, which were Unfair Advantage for infinite turbos, but the rest were more interesting, like this car's heavier than before for using stealth mode. Where's the diamond for enabling transparent textures, and Now You're Playing with Power backwards for turning on mirror mode. And with that, both versions of Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is now mastered. Overall, I thought it was quite interesting to do both versions as my first ever mastery. Doing the cups on expert mode on the PS1 version was incredibly challenging, and the time trials and stunt masters were unique, but also incredibly hard for some. The unique challenges on the PS1 version were actually quite fun and showed very interesting ways to play certain tracks. If you've been enjoying this, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe, as well as checking out my Twitch, where all my retro achievement sessions are streamed from, along with all the other things I play, like randomizers, playthroughs, and sometimes even speedruns. Thank you all so much for watching, hope you all have a great day or night, and I'll see you all in the next time.